Yes, love's a secret weapon. Yeah!
Hi, I'm Donna Loren.
And I'm Dr. Adam Gerace.
And you are listening to Love's a Secret Weapon podcast.
Hi there, and welcome to the Route 66 Oldies Show. My name is Leslie Stevens, and I'm your host with the most forgotten oldies of all time. So relax, sit back in your easy chair, turn up the music, because the Route 66 Oldies Show is about to begin right now.
Sacred. Whoa, whoa. Our love is sacred. Whoa, whoa. Church bells were ringing on the Sunday we met. Heaven was smiling. Angels were singing on the Sunday we met.
The Castells from 1961 with Sacred. And they started out a brand new Route 66 Oldies Show with Leslie Stevens. Thanks for taking a drive down memory lane and that long highway of oldies on Route 66. Let's get back to the show. All queued up and ready to go.
Welcome to Love's a Secret Weapon podcast with Dr. Adam and our guest today, Leslie Stevens.
Well, thank you very much. And thank you very much for having me. I appreciate that very well.
Well, you have a gorgeous announcer's voice. It sounds like you've done quite a bit of that type of endeavor.
Oh, my goodness. I probably have about 45 years experience in radio and television since I was at the early age of 17. I got my first job at a radio station.
Oh, tell us where. Where was that?
Well, first, you want the call letters of the station, or do you want just...
Sure,
okay.
Of course.
Well, the very first job I got in radio was working at a radio station here in the San Fernando Valley. I am in Los Angeles. I'm in Hollywood, actually. Studio City, closer to Universal Studios. But the very first job I got in a radio station was here in the San Fernando, and the call letters were KGIL. That was AM Stereo 1260. And at the age of 17, I didn't get on the air, but they put me in the shipping department and ship out packages and check packages in. And then from there, I worked my way up to the news department, where I actually worked in the newsroom. Again, not on the air, but I we recorded AP World News that came down the pike from...
Wow.
Yeah, we recorded it back then. It wasn't live. It was on magnetic tape. And my job was to start the tape machines at that time and make sure everything got recorded properly, and then cue it up for the different hours on the news. And if something happened to the tape, I had to edit the tape. That is, splice the tape together. And I did that for quite a few years before I ever even thought about getting on the air there.
Well, Dr. Adam, don't you think that starting from the bottom up is really the way to go and create a strong foundation?
Well, absolutely. I think if you know everything inside out, you know, whatever your destination was, and in your case, Leslie, it was to be eventually on air, you know all these things that go into it along the way. And when you mentioned splicing the tape, take us back to what that looked like back then. What is that as simple as getting a piece of sticky tape and cutting? And...
Yeah, basically it's magnetic recording tape. You've seen it on those reel-to-reel machines. And basically we would cut it with a razor blade knife very carefully. And then put some sticky tape on it, cut this out and cut that out. This is way before digital, by the way. We had no digital back then, so everything was on tape. And so they actually had me, they taught me how to do that. And so at the beginning of a broadcast, we would put a leader. It's called a leader on there. And what the leader was, a plain piece of tape that did nothing, but once it hit the sound part, then the sound would begin. And I had to put the leader on, and so they can cue it up exactly how they wanted to cue it. At this point
That
in time,
requires a lot of accuracy.
it did. It did. And I learned that very well from doing it there. And at this point in time, when I first got the job at this radio station, I offered to do it for nothing. I said, look, I'm trying to break into the business. I'm 17-year-old kid. Can you just give me something to do? I'll do anything. I'll take the trash out. I'll sweep the floors. I'll mop the floors. I'll dust. I'll do anything you want me to do. So that's how it all started. And I had a really good relationship with them for about 3 years.
And what sort of decade are we talking about here? Is this 1970s?
This was probably 77. Yeah, about 77.
You bring up a song in my mind. I'll do anything for you,
For
dear.
you,
Anything.
dear. Oh, man, you sing it beautifully, too. I got to tell you. You have a beautiful voice. You really do.
Well, thank you. Likewise, I'm sure. All three of us, actually.
Right,
definitely
but
got
you
that
don't
with
want to hear
time.
me singing, let me tell you. I can't carry a tune in a bucket. You don't want to hear that. That was my
No,
very first job in
Mm.
radio. It wasn't really in radio, but I was at a radio station.
And what made you want to do radio, or where did it all begin for you? So you grew up in California, or was it Arizona?
No, I grew up in California, right here in
Yeah.
Studio City in the LA area. Well, Studio City in North Hollywood, borderline. And my parents, my mom, always had music on the hi-fi. We called it hi-fis back then, not radio. So she had a big, huge German radio, and that thing always had music on there and always had disc jockeys. And I always listened to the music, which was, by the way, cha-cha-cha music back then. And and all the DJs would come on. I said, I could do that. I mean, I could talk about what song you heard and what's coming up. And I said, I think I'm going to follow that as my career. And I just fell in love with the big band music and the cha-cha music and the Steve and Edie type of music she would listen to. And
Edie Gourmet was one of my mentors, basically. That's pretty much how I learned to sing standards and ballads and show tunes through Edie Gourmet, who was probably at the time, I think maybe 5 years. Her first album, she was about 19, and I think I started singing with her around when I was 14.
Oh my goodness!
I loved her.
Johnny could only sing one note, and the note he sang was this. Ah, poor Johnny, one note, sang out with gusto and just overlorded the place. Poor Johnny, one note, yelled willy-nilly until he was blue in the face. For holding one note was his ace. Couldn't hear the brass, couldn't hear the drum. He was in a class by himself like God. Poor Johnny, one note, got in Aida, indeed a great chance to be brave.
I love Edie Gourmet, and I love her arrangements, and I love Vicky Carr. Remember Vicky Carr? Oh my goodness,
Well,
she's an amazing
Vicky
singer.
Carr and I, yes, definitely. I remember being in Chicago working for Dr. Pepper making commercials, and one of the executives from Dr. Pepper took me across the street. I was staying, oh gosh, what was the name of the hotel? Now I can't think. The Water Tower Inn. And it was right on the main drag, which Michigan Avenue, I guess. And right across the street, there was a hotel called the Drake, a really old hotel in Chicago, right next to the lake. And we went to go hear Vicky Carr. And then Vicky and I did the Milton Berle show together.
Man, oh man, that must have been really something back then to even meet Milton Berle. That'd be great. Uncle Milty, are you kidding me? You met him.
Oh my goodness.
That must have been amazing.
I was very fortunate. I've told this story before, but does it bear repeating, Adam?
Please go ahead. It was probably quite a few episodes ago.
I
We
want to
have
hear it.
almost 80
I want to hear
episodes.
it.
Okay, well, in my career, I was always buffered because I worked for a corporation, Dr. Pepper, and there were always executives. And then I was a minor and I had a parent with me. So, so when I worked for Milton Berle, I did 4 of the shows for him at the Hollywood Palace. And he was so respectful toward me. And, and that's the way it was throughout my career. But when we were in rehearsal, there was an actress that was going to do a skit with him, and she showed up on crutches. She had a cast on one leg, and she said, take it easy with me during rehearsal. You can go a little harder, when we're on the show. And what did he do? He roughed her up so bad. She
Oh,
was
my
like
goodness.
on the floor. You don't tell, a classic comic that's from vaudeville, that really comes up the hard way to, to
Oh,
take it
my
easy
God.
on you, especially if you're a woman,
That's an amazing story. I love to hear stuff like that, especially about you.
Uh-oh.
But no, but that's amazing. You got to hang out with Uncle Milty and Vicky Carr, and your career is just amazing. I mean, if we go back to your career, how it all started, which we're not going to do because obviously this is your show, but still, your career is just absolutely amazing. And
Well, thank you, honey.
and you know what? I
Actually,
think
yes.
really quick, I think I saw you on Batman the other night.
Oh, fabulous. Oh, gosh, that never grows old, does it?
Somewhere out
I
in the world, Batman is on probably right now.
It's still on. Well, the repeats are on one of these crazy cable channels. I don't even know what it is, but I do like Batman. I said to myself, self. I said, yes. I said, I know this woman. I know exactly who that is. And I waited for the end of the credits to come on just to make sure. And I was correct.
Oh,
So I loved you in
yeah.
Batman.
Yeah, that was a highlight. But let me just correct one little tiny detail. This podcast is a collaboration between Dr. Adam and myself, and it was birthed from another collaboration that we did together to create my memoir, which started the whole thing.
Oh,
And yeah, so we're as we move into this new earth energy, which I am so enthralled with. Things are just uprooting and chaotic and crazy, but I feel like everyone that I'm associating with and everyone that is attracted to come on and share their lives with Dr. Adam and I are moving into a golden period where we just need to get through the speed bumps that are really treacherous right now,
right.
and enter into a period where we started that seed so long ago in the 60s, and with those shows and with those movies that represented some idealism, and it seems like it's taking a long time, but it's coming to fruition. So
Well, I loved everything you do. I saw you on a beach movie the other day as well. Let's see.
Well, wouldn't you just love being on the beach right now?
Well, it's not too bad for me. It's right down the road, actually. I can be there in about 45 minutes.
Fantastic. Oh, yes.
But I saw you sing you were inside a little cabin of some sort, and you sang a solo. And that solo was just amazing. It was beautiful.
Oh, could that have been Beach Blanket Bingo?
It was. And obviously you were lip syncing to the music. But you know what? It was just beautiful. I loved it. And I just loved it. We was just digging it so much out here.
I tell you what, a little secret. Whenever there was pre-recorded music, I still sang live.
Oh,
so,
okay.
So as a matter of fact, oh gosh, I just saw a movie. Who was it? Oh, no, now I can't remember. And wait a minute, is it going to come to me? It's a movie in the 60s, very early in the 60s. And it was Steve McQueen. Steve McQueen took a role of being kind of a singer, like rock star wannabe.
Oh my God.
And a guy that I used to work with, Billy Strange, who was a producer and musician,
Right.
sang. Do you know that name?
Yeah, he's a guitar player, was he not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he sang for Steve McQueen.
Oh.
And oh no, the camera was so in love with Steve McQueen's bass. They did total close-ups, and you could see that it was not him singing.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I know Billy Strange. I played his music before on my show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for a long time, for about 10 years, I did a radio show, not a podcast, but a radio show. And it was a syndicated radio show. It was 50s and 60s. And I had it syndicated all over about 355 stations around the world.
Wow.
Including England and Australia and, oh my gosh, Japan and Sweden, all kinds of places that wanted my show. And all these shows were produced by yours truly in my recording studio in northern Arizona, where I also have a house and I live there. So many a times I played some Billy Strange. I played you as well, my friend. I have you on my show. Yeah, you bet.
So what's it called? Is it called your name, or
No,
is it still in circulation?
It's called the Route 66 Oldies Show.
Now I go through St. Louis, Joplin, Missouri, and Oklahoma City. That's mighty pretty, you see. Amarillo, Gallup, New Mexico, Flagstaff, Arizona. Don't forget Winona, Kingman, Barstow, San Bernardino. Want you get hip to this timely tip when you make that California trip. Get your kicks on Route 66.
Wow. And do you have it? Do you have it archived so that it could be reissued?
I do. I have it on my computer, and there's maybe about 4 or 5 stations still playing it. There's one station in England that absolutely loves me. They're called Forest FM, and they're in England, and they are in a place called Somerset. They play a little bit of everything, and they're still running my shows. And my shows have not been in production now for about 8-9 years. I just stopped doing it because I just,
That's okay.
got tired of doing it. But anybody wants any of my shows, all they got to do is write me, and I'll send them right out.
That sounds really groovy.
Yeah, I was just going to say, was this the radio station that broadcast from a church? Am I thinking of the right place, Leslie?
I do have my own radio station, yes. I own my own radio station in northern Arizona. And the church I belong to, the First Baptist Church of Arizona, of Williams, actually. I live in Williams, Arizona.
Wow.
You guys know where Williams is, yeah.
I certainly do. My husband has relatives there.
Oh, I'll be darned. Well, anyway, I opened up this radio station about 14 years ago, and my church said, hey, you need a place to run your station? I said, sure, and they gave me a room. They gave me a really nice... I don't know, maybe a 15 by 15 size shed, but the rent was free. And they said, you could do whatever you want here, just don't burn the place down. I said, well, that's good. I don't even smoke, but sure, that's fine. So I opened up the radio station. It's a low power FM radio station, but it covers all of Williams. It's 100 watts, so it's nothing like we have in LA, which is 100,000 watts, but it covers that. And anyway,
can it creep into Flagstaff as well sometimes?
No, it'll go maybe about halfway up the Flagstaff.
I see. Okay.
The big powerhouses there would drown us out. But it does cover Williams, and it's more really a hobby more than anything else. But the fact is, I got it done and all licensed from the FCC, Federal Communications Commission. But my radio show I did outside my house in my studio. I have a whole full recording studio at home. and I would do that and send everything out MP3 via email to everybody. I did a new show once a week, so I did it for 9 years, and once a week they got the same show, but it was a new show. So I did it for quite a while.
Wow.
Well, you know, anytime someone, including myself and including Dr. Adam, you know, gives of themselves and provides a service, I feel like, you know, you in particular with the venture that you did was doing God's work and creating beauty through the music that you shared. So thank you.
You're very welcome. And I enjoy playing the music, and, you know, people listen to the show and they say, oh my goodness, we haven't heard that song in 50 or 60 years. You know, are you kidding me with that? I played music that people never even heard before. I mean, just stuff that was just very obscure, you know, just crazy stuff like car hops and car shows from car clubs and stuff. I played a lot of really good music, you know, just stuff that just people wouldn't even imagine was out there at one time.
Well, that's what everybody loves is the B-side, you know.
Right. And,
Now,
you know, even the people
yeah.
they never even heard before. But, yeah, I've lived in Williams for quite a while. I retired because I worked in Phoenix for 21 years at a television station out in Phoenix.
Oh.
I know
And
you guys
boy,
are in Arizona. I worked
yes.
I worked at the KTVK Channel 3, the big independent there.
Right. And what did you do there? Was that reporting or producing?
Over there, I did everything. First, I started out as an editor, and then they said, hey, you want to be a cameraman? Go out and shoot the news, and you shoot it and edit. I said, sure. So I did that, and then they liked me a whole bunch. They said, you want to be a producer? So I got to be a producer and help produce the morning show. And then the weekends opened up for a reporter just to go out and do fun things, you know, like the Phoenix fairs and the water slide parks. So I decided to do that. And I did that for about 20 years. I was doing that over there. And finally, they decided to open up a new station in Tucson, Fox 11. They had a Fox 11 station, which is an affiliate in Tucson. Not too far where you guys are.
Hey,
That's
very close.
And I was there for 7 years.
Oh,
And
it's a beautiful place.
Tucson, yeah, it was really nice, but very, very hot as well. And we also were in cahoots with NBC out there because we had a contract with them. So I shot the news for them. I did some stand-ups, and I did some I did some weekend stuff, you know, same thing. Let's go to the water park or the water slide. Let's go see the people on the motocross deal going on over there, or, you know, all kinds of just crazy things, just the fun side of stuff. So I did that.
You know, you brought up the vintage music of the mid-century, and I just watched a movie called American Fiction, and it stars a fellow named Jeffrey Wright, who is an author, and he's a serious author, but his publisher wants to sell more books, and he thinks that he needs to kind of cater to a more commercial audience. And so, speaking about, you know, vintage mid-century rock and roll obscurity, he picked a name, Stag R. Lee.
That's a good name, Stagger Lee.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he wrote a book that he was so not proud of, and it sold like crazy.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah. It's a good movie.
Right now, we are cruising down Route 66 with Leslie Stevens and his Good Time Oldies Show.
I don't know about you, but listening to all this rock and roll is making me hungry. You don't mind a little cotton candy, do you? Here's Al Hirt from 1964.
Well, that kind of music, it just stands the test of time. It just lasts forever. When you hear stuff like Pennies from Heaven and I don't know, the Herman's Hermits and the Beatles stuff, and you want to go back even further to Sam Cooke and that kind of stuff. It's just amazing.
Yes, we were playing a Sam Cooke record just the other night. I must have got it from a used record store a few years ago. Forgot I even had it, but the cover is just this beautiful bright cover, and the vinyl is fantastic.
Did you play You Send Me?
Yeah, amongst many others.
Yeah.
It was a two record.
That was a great song.
Mm-hmm.
In the Chain Gang, I think that's his greatest.
Sam
Cooke was on the very first Shindig show that I was on.
I was just about
I'll be darned. I did not know that.
Shindig proudly presents the great Sam Cooke. I was dancing with my baby to that Tennessee waltz when an old friend I happened to see. Oh yeah, I introduced him to my baby, and while they were dancing, my friend stole my sweetheart away from me. Oh yes, he did. But I remember the night and that beautiful Tennessee waltz. Now I know just how much I've lost. Oh yeah, I know that I lost my baby. That night that they kept on playing that beautiful Tennessee waltz. Oh yeah, I remember that night and that beautiful Tennessee waltz. Now I know just how much I've lost. Oh yeah, I know that I lost my baby. That night that they kept on playing that beautiful, that wonderful, that marvelous, that glorious, that beautiful Tennessee waltz.
Gentlemen, righto. We'll be back in just a moment with more of Sam Cooke, the Everly Brothers, Donna Loren, and the Righteous Brothers.
And who, Leslie, were you? We've often spoken about some of the radio DJs that Donna was involved in during her career, who really gave her a boost. Who were some of the radio people that you idolized or tried to emulate coming up in the late 70s and beyond?
Oh my gosh, that would be one person in particular. His name was, he's actually passed away a few years ago, but the real Don Steele.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the real Don Steele.
KHJ Los Angeles.
3:00 in Los Angeles, and good afternoon to you, baby. Certainly, it's me, gonna cook all afternoon long, $1,000 in the jackpot. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the real Don Steele Show from the Much More Music Station.
KHJ Los Angeles.
501 in Los Angeles.
Oh,
yes.
We as kids grew up with a very, very powerful radio station, KHJ, right here in LA.
Yep.
Used to be 93 KHJ. We'd have it on all the radios at the beach or on your bicycle riding your 10-speed. You'd have a little transistor and you'd be listening to the real Don Steele. 93 KHJ Boss Radio. They'd be Boss Radio, Los Angeles, 93 KHJ. And this guy would talk maybe 100 miles a minute. You know, you couldn't even half the time understand what he was saying, but man, he sure know how to lay it down.
Wow.
Sam Riddle, 93 KHJ.
Heidi Benish of Los Angeles. Early this morning on the Johnny Williams Show said April 29. Her birthday matched up with a payday, and she's now $2,920 richer. Congratulations.
Grand Prix Motorcycle Road Race is Sunday.
Orange County International Raceway. Orange County International Raceway. Los Angeles weather.
Pretty nothing type day. It's only 65 degrees in Hollywood. High today is supposedly near 70. Same for tomorrow, low tonight 57. Valley currently has 65. Orange County 61. The Southern California Visitors Council are presenting a Japanese cultural festival at Westwood Village today through the 10th at 4 p.m. For information, call 628-3101.
The Big 93.
Tonight on Boss City, my guests are from the Rams, Deacon Jones singing, Sajid Khan, Cowsill singing number 1, and Tom, Paul, and the Glazer Brothers. Tonight, 6 o'clock on TV9, Boss City.
So wait a minute. So was Bob Eubanks and Sam Riddle and
Yes.
who else were the DJs on KHJ?
Yep. Bob Eubanks wasn't on KHJ. He was on he was on radio. He was on KRLA, and I think
okay.
And we had on KHJ we had the real Don Steele. We had Robert W. Morgan. We had Charlie Tuna.
That's true. Yeah.
He just passed away not too long ago. And then on KRLA we had Bob Eubanks. We had the Wolfman Jack.
Oh yes.
Oh my gosh, everybody just loved the Wolfman. That guy would just start screaming into the radio, and we'd be like, what the heck is this guy screaming on the radio for? And oh man, it was just amazing. Everybody just fell in love with Wolfman Jack. But those
he's
guys,
living up to his name. He's howling,
and he'd be howling at the moon, and he'd just be talking. And then, of course, he got his own Saturday night show on NBC after that called The Midnight Special.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now you can find that on YouTube now, too.
Right. And they introduced a lot of rock groups like Blondie. The first time I ever saw Blondie, blonde woman came out wearing a mini skirt and just singing out the song. So it was quite an experience to see him on that show. That show was just opened up a whole bunch of doors of music and stuff. I loved it.
Come get Wolfman Jack, my friend. I have saved you a box seat right here. This one happens to be soaking wet. No, it isn't either. I thought it was a Santa Claus joke. How are you?
Well, I certainly feeling good. If you got about a half an hour, I'll tell you exactly how good I'm feeling.
Oh, no, not on this show you can't. I have watched you on the Midnight Special since I was a little boy. Come on now, wait a minute. What is up? Is that fun?
Huh?
Where are you? Were you a natural-born ham or what?
No, it's just always silly, Dick. You know that. I remember... it's been 10 years. I've known this gentleman for 10 years, and I finally got on the Dick Clark show. I'm just so excited to be here, friends. You just can't understand how excited I am to be here.
Well, let me hear a little howl. Huh? A little wolfman. Have mercy, baby. I've tried to talk like you talk for 100 years.
So Wolfman Jack, I don't know if you remember this, Adam, but 15 years after I retired from Dr. Pepper, I was invited to do a reunion in Amarillo, Texas. And and who was the host?
Here we go. What was this reunion for? I don't know if we've ever told this story.
Yeah, well, Dr. Pepper contacted me and said that they wanted me to do a reunion and I was the only artist, by the way. And it was distinctly for Dr. Pepper. And Wolfman Jack was there conducting the sock hop, basically the dance portion, and introduced me, and then I was the performer.
Wow. And tell us how many sock hops you did in your time, Donna. There were quite a few.
That's a lot of laundry, I have to say.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Well, how about Joni Summers? She did the Pepsi generation. Did you ever meet Joni? No, maybe not.
I probably crossed paths with her, but it was not anything significant.
Okay. Well, she did the Pepsi generation commercials, and I don't know if that's a bad thing to say on here because we're talking
What
about.
are you doing, Leslie? We don't talk about Pepsi or
okay.
Coca-Cola.
Okay.
Actually,
Gotcha.
I don't mind talking about Pepsi when it comes to like happy days. I mean, you know, with Penny Marshall, her favorite drink was milk and Pepsi. So
oh my goodness, she mixed them.
I'm totally down for that. And then I had an experience, you know, in Dallas. You know, oh gosh, I don't know if I want to go into the whole thing, but anyway. When Joan, oh gosh, what was her name?
Joan Crawford.
Joan Crawford, thank you so much.
Oh, yes.
Inherited the CEO position at Pepsi. And
right.
Yeah, so, oh gosh, I don't want to, you know, venture into that day anymore. It was so catastrophic. It was the day that our president was assassinated.
1963.
November 22nd.
Right, 1963. I remember it well. My mom was crying when I came home. They sent us home from school. I was in school, of course, and they sent us home. They didn't tell us why. They said, no, the classes are dismissed. You guys go home. We didn't know why. They didn't explain it to us. They just wanted to get us the heck out of the school. And my mom was at home crying. I said, what the heck's going on? You know, why are you crying, Mom? What's going on? She explained it to me, the whole thing. And at that age, you know, I didn't really understand what was going on. But, I mean, I did. But it was just kind of hard to fathom. So, yeah, I remember.
How old were you?
Well.
How old were you?
Well, let's see. You can do the math. 50. I was born in 56.
Oh, so you were very
young. 7 or 8, yeah.
Yeah, I was 16, and I was being introduced as the Dr. Pepper girl representing all of their advertising coast to coast. And so I was in Dallas that day for that reason when John Kennedy was killed.
Yeah, I read some stuff that when they filmed Gilligan's Island pilot and they have a camera panning over in the harbor, you know, this thing in the Gilligan's Island song, they shot it on the day, well, 2 days after the president was assassinated, just because that was their shooting schedule. And all the flags in the background are at half-mast.
Oh,
I never knew that. Wow.
Yeah, I read that on the Gilligan's Island thing. So they're saying it was at half-mast.
Yeah.
Because the President Kennedy got killed that day. Well, a couple days after that. But anyways.
Yeah. So, oh my goodness. Well, so how do you occupy your time now that you're retired?
Oh, you know, when I was in junior high school many years ago, I played many instruments in music class. And my favorite instrument I always wanted to play and learned was the flute. So I've been playing the flute ever since.
You are too much. Oh my God.
Yeah, so I became a little musician on the side. I play in bands out here, and I play in little coffee houses, and I play flute. I do a lot of flute, actually. And I play with friends, and then if that doesn't keep me going, I play tennis 3 days a week.
You know, seriously, you know, I've heard that, you know, sometimes when retirement comes or you choose to retire, that, you know, sometimes there's a sense of loss and loss of identity. And here you are, you know, following your passion and filling your time with some really gorgeous things. So,
you know,
wow.
And I just like keeping busy. I play flute, clarinet, saxophone, and I've been taking piano lessons for the past 3 years here in LA. It's just something I always wanted to do because nowadays, you know, you get a really nice keyboard. You don't even need a piano. The same thing. But I've been taking piano lessons for 3 years, and I play tennis 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I'm in a tennis group here up in Mulholland Drive area in Studio City. We have a whole bunch of courts, and a whole bunch of us get together and play 3 days a week. Well, 3 nights a week, actually. And
that's spectacular.
Yeah, so I keep busy. I enjoy what I'm doing, and I still go to the beach, and I still hang out in coffee shops and whatever. I just like to keep busy. I do puzzles. I do 1,000-piece puzzles all the time.
Whoa.
I like to do puzzles when everything's nice and quiet. I'll have a nice cup of hot tea right next to me, and I'll be working on a puzzle for a couple hours a night. And I keep busy. I don't want to sit around and be a couch potato and stuff like that. I just want to just do stuff.
You just said one of my favorite things is tea.
Oh, I like the green tea. The green tea is my favorite.
All right, Adam, are you a fan or are you more coffee?
I've been drinking a lot of jasmine tea of late, which is really quite lovely, but probably more of a coffee fan. But I do like that idea of whether it's the puzzle or, you can lose hours sometimes doing that. It's very mindful. It's very engaging and that's absolutely wonderful. How are the piano lessons going?
They're going I'm not doing Chopin or Mozart, but I'm doing some pop stuff pretty well, I got some country western stuff down and some big band type stuff. Yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm no Liberace or anything, but I'm having fun.
You don't need to be.
The lessons are really well, and the teacher is great. I have a real nice teacher. She teaches. That always helps when you get to sit next to someone. She teaches piano and she teaches harp. Believe it or not, harp.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, but no, they're going really well. I enjoy doing it, so I figured, what the heck.
Sorry about that. That's just the
that's our mascot, Lucy.
Make themselves known.
Oh, it sounds like things are going to the dogs over there. You better be careful.
Well, I do have to ask then, were there any on radio? Were there any mishaps or things that didn't go quite so well and anything that sticks out? I mean, this is a small low-grade one, but was there anything, Leslie, that you ever had to sort of come back from?
Oh, the usual probably stuff. Interviewing. I did many interviews, and people would cuss on the radio, and they're not supposed to. And we didn't bleep them out because we didn't have the delays on back then to bleep people out. Yeah. And we had earthquakes before. The 94 earthquake, I was on the air, and we had the 94 earthquake here in L.A., and which shaked and rattled and rolled stuff. And
that was the
Northridge quake. So, just the typical stuff. But one of the radio stations I worked with, a very large sign that says, if you can't say it in person in front of people, don't say it on the air.
I mean, it's a very good way to be. So tell us, Leslie, with your radio career, and was it always mid-century that you were focusing on in the music you played, or was it of the time? Was it late 70s, 80s? Was there a through line, or was it wherever you were?
Played pop, I played top 40, I played country, but I never got a chance to do talk radio, and I always wanted to do talk radio, always.
Would that be something that you might choose to do now, or?
No, probably not. I think I'm pretty much done with all the schmidt and caboodle here and all the tomfoolery on the radio. I think I'm just going to stick to playing tennis, playing music, playing my Donna Loren records and CDs, and just having fun in life.
And do what you love to do. That's the most important thing.
Mm-hmm. You're right. And that's doing puzzles and drinking some green tea at night.
and may I tell you, I created a little blend, and I don't know if you guys are interested in hearing it.
I am.
Sure.
So, first of all, it's loose. It's a loose tea.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
And I use a press, like, a coffee press.
Yep.
So it's 3 spoonfuls of green tea, jasmine green tea, organic. And then I use for digestion. The green tea is for a little lift, right?
Uh-huh.
Gets you up in the morning, but very, very gently. And it's also detoxing. So then for digestion is peppermint.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a spoonful of peppermint loose tea. And then And then for delicious flavor, oh my goodness, and this beautiful rouge color, I add a spoonful of loose hibiscus tea.
Oh, that sounds good.
Okay, so that's so far. And then in the winter, I discovered that when you use plants that have thorny, like roses or in this case, blackberry vines are very thorny. And when you think about thorns, they protect the plant. It's like, no, don't go there. I'm gonna hurt you. And so that helps to protect you in the winter. And so I add a spoonful of blackberry, and that's also loose. And then and then I also add rose hips for vitamin C. And you can either use a full rose hip or you can use a seedless rose hip. And I just blend the two. It's very robust. And then just to finish it off, guys, I take a spoonful of clove, because clove is antibacterial. And it also it helps with parasites. And yes, and of course it's also excellent for breath. And so that's my blend. And then of course a bit of fresh lemon and a bit of local honey, and good to go.
That's an interesting concoction. It must take you a long time to put one of them together.
Oh, it's a lovely meditation every morning.
Okay.
Every morning. Yes.
That's a very interesting concoction.
It's not just throwing the Lipton into the cup.
Throwing the Lipton.
The Lipton, a Lipton tea bag and a hot cup of coffee, a hot cup of water. Where did those days go?
Oh dear. Well, those are the lazy days. Sorry.
Yeah, right. Well, that's good.
No, I really enjoy the meditation of it, and whenever I have friends over, and have a cup of tea, it's kind of a ritual, and they really enjoy it. But you know what? I don't give away my secrets to them.
Well, now we might have.
Well, I won't tell anyone. Mum's the word.
But you can try it out if you're adventurous and you feel like any portion of that you can collect and add.
Are you kidding? You had me lost after the first two ingredients.
Okay. Well,
but I'll take your word for it.
Okay, take my word for it then.
All right. But
well, let's flip the conversation a bit. Leslie, do you have any burning questions for Donna? We've asked you quite a few questions, but
my only question, my main question is, how in the heck did a nice girl like you end up in southern Arizona? That's my question.
Oh gosh, well, very simple. I'm married to a man who loves Arizona, and during the pandemic, mentioned this little town called Bisbee to me. And in October 2020. We hit the dusty trail and took the country roads down south from where we lived in the mountains of Palm Springs.
Oh, okay.
And the moment that we turned off, and I've forgotten the numbers, but there were quite a few. My energy shifted, and by the time we got here, I just felt a magnetic attraction. And so, we put our home up for sale in California, and enlisted a realtor who found us a home. And this might be interesting. The home that we put on the market was designed by an apprentice of Frank Lloyd Wright named John Lautner. And when we came to Bisbee, we discovered a home that was also built. The architect was an apprentice of Frank Lloyd Wright. And so literally I went from one to another, and now the view of the mountains, surrounded by mountains, and I'm my husband and I are the only ones on this entire mountain. which is enormous.
Yeah, Bisbee is a beautiful place. I've been there many a times with news, doing stuff. And I've been there many times. I've been to Douglas many times. So, yeah, I know the area really, really well. And I actually worked in Palm Springs for 2 years. I worked at the original KDES 94.7. Which was a top 40 station back then. So one of my first radio station gigs back in the 80s was Palm Springs. So I was there for 2 years.
Well, I think we should play the Beach Boys, Round, Round, Get Around, I Get Around.
There you go.
Okay?
That's what I'm talking about. Now you're talking.
Well, it has been a thrill having a chat and getting to know you. And I'm so happy that we're in each other's lives and that we got this time together. So
I am
thank
very,
you so
very excited.
much.
I'm very, very excited to meet both of you. And now I can consider you guys my friends. I'll tell people, hey, I know Donna Loren. Sure, you see that lady right there singing with the surfboard? I know her. I spoke to her on the phone.
and if you're down this way, when you're visiting your northern Arizona area, if you're coming down south, just let us know.
Right, that's a 6-hour drive down the
It certainly is.
Right down the freeway there. But you never know. You never know. I just might show up on your front door.
You start driving, and she'll put the tea on, and by the time you get there 6 hours later,
it'll be brewed.
It's a date. It's a date.
Very good. I'm going to keep to that date. You, my friend, are on my list.
And now tell me, what is your secret weapon?
Well, to life, you mean? For life, I would say keeping busy and being happy. And I would also say God. God is a very secret weapon of mine, although it's no big secret. If you have God in your life, you have pretty much everything covered.
No, it's fantastic.
If you have God, you have the Holy Spirit in your life, then you pretty much have everything covered. There's nothing you can conquer, because it actually says in the Bible, with God, all things are possible. And I know that for a fact, because I've achieved everything I've ever asked for in life. And I'm just happy right now as a clam at high tide, and I still have God in my life. I will never let him go, and hopefully he'll never let me go. And I attend church once a week here in the Valley where I attend a big church, Grace Community Church here. And, I can say God just led me everywhere and did everything for me.
It's beautiful. I'm in alignment with you. Thank you.
That's beautiful as well. Thank you, sir, for running all the controls and making this happen. I appreciate it. You're the engineer. You are everything. You are the engineer as well.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Leslie. And so happy that you're on Love's a Secret Weapon podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Johnny one note sang out with gusto and just overloaded the place. Poor Johnny one note yelled willy-nilly until he was blue in the face. For holding one note was his aim. Couldn't hear the brass, couldn't hear the drum. He was in a class by himself, by God. He took his one note, howled like the north wind, brought forth with that made grave, while there he turned around in his grave. And dogs stopped yapping, lions in the zoo all were jealous of Johnny's big thrill. Thunderclap stopped clapping, traffic ceased roar, and they tell us Niagara stood still. He stopped the train whistles, boat whistles, steam whistles, cop whistles, all whistles burned through his steel. So sing, Johnny, one note of love. Sing, Johnny, one note. Sing, Johnny, one note. Sing, Johnny, one note of love.
It sure was great to hear that song after all these years. Don't you agree? Good. I love it when people agree with me. Here comes Chad and Jeremy from 1964 with a summer song.
Trees swaying in the summer